What is going on, guys? Jonathan Shane here, functional nutritional therapy practitioner specializing in low carb endurance and performance. Adjusting my mic a little because I had some comments about low microphone. Let me know if this sounds better. Also, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Today we're going to be talking about electrolytes and micronutrients when it comes to racing. Okay, now, as runners, as athletes, now this can apply to triathlons, this can apply to Spartan races, this can apply to CrossFit, this can apply to any kind of endurance-like sporting event when we're talking about electrolytes. Now, this is an important thing to note. It doesn't matter whether you're low carb, high carb, doesn't matter your diet. Electrolytes matter. Why? Because electrolytes are what allow your muscles to contract and relax. Magnesium, potassium, and sodium. Then we get into minerals, things like that, right? Which we'll get into in just a second. So let's break this up into two sections. We'll talk about electrolytes first. Now, this is going to vary because at the end of the day, we all sweat a different amount, and then it also depends on the season. Right now, as I'm recording this video, I'm looking outside and it's snowing. The amount of electrolytes I need to run, say, a half marathon in this weather is going to be very different than the amount of sodium that I'm going to need to run in July, right? So we have to take these factors into consideration. But also on that point, just because you're not sweating doesn't mean you're not excreting electrolytes. They're not filtering through your kidneys and going to your bladder. A lot of people do that. They don't take as many electrolytes during the wintertime and they get dehydrated. In fact, I was doing CrossFit earlier before recording this video, and I, put myself on blast here. I didn't take electrolytes beforehand, and I got cotton mouth. I was dehydrated, and I am surprised I finished as well as I did. So, just because it's cold outside doesn't mean you don't need to hydrate, doesn't mean you don't need to take electrolytes, okay? So then when it comes to races and stuff, what is a good measurement? Now, you can go and get this tested. You can go get your electrolytes tested. You can go do a sweat test and see how many you excrete an hour. But a good rule of thumb is the average person is going to excrete 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium per hour. Potassium is going to run in the it's going to run similar to that. A little bit lower, and then magnesium a little bit lower than that, okay? Now, generally the colder months, it's going to be closer to 500, and then during the summer months, it's going to be closer to 1,000. So average is like 750 milligrams an hour. If you don't want to get super nuanced, that's a great marker. Doesn't matter if it's winter or summer, just shoot for 700 milligrams, and then during the summer, if you notice that that's not enough, then you can increase it a little, okay? There are plenty of electrolyte supplements that give you that. Redmond Relight gives you 800 milligrams per scoop. True Endurance, mine gives you 500. And Energized Reds gives you 500 milligrams, right? So there's plenty of electrolyte powders that give you close to that amount of electrolytes. So again, winter and summer, good rule of thumb, 700 to 800 milligrams of sodium per hour. As long as you're getting in 500 during the colder months and then around 1,000 for the summer months. From an electrolyte standpoint, that's really all you need to know, okay? I would try to shoot for at least a 2-to-1 sodium to potassium ratio. So if you're doing 1,000 milligrams of sodium, you want 500 milligrams of potassium. And then magnesium, you want a 3-to-1 sodium to magnesium ratio. So 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 350 milligrams of magnesium, okay? Good ratios. Super easy. Now, when we're talking about minerals and micronutrients, this isn't really a question of nutrient timing around your races. This is going to be about making sure specifically that you're not focused on cutting a lot of fat or weight right before a race. Why? Because that usually means you're going to be under eating, which that is what's going to create a micro deficit, a micronutrient deficit, or a mineral deficit, because you're not getting all those micronutrients because you're not eating enough nutrient dense foods because you're trying to cut weight. It's better to cut weight earlier in your training. And then as you get closer to race, weight loss should not be a goal. If you are 4 weeks out from a race, you should not be thinking about weight loss. You should be focused on getting your body as much nutrients as possible so that it can recover so you can perform at your best. Don't be stupid, okay? So in terms of micronutrients, the best way to mitigate that is to make sure you're eating enough food and make sure your nutrition's dialed in. Make sure you're eating enough protein. Make sure you're getting enough healthy fats. If you need whole food carbs, make sure that they're good, nutrient-rich sources. And just make sure that you're getting in those nutrient-dense foods. If you're doing that, and you're focused on performance rather than weight loss when it comes to a diet approach, especially the tail end of a training block up to a race, you're going to find yourself from a micro mineral nutrient standpoint in a much better place. And then again with electrolytes, 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams per hour is a good safe spot. Honestly, The best way to, just to make it simple, 1 scoop of electrolytes per hour at minimum, 2 if you're sweating a lot. That's a real basic application there too. So I hope that gives you some answers. Hope that gives you some insight, and I will see you on the next one.